Hello and welcome to part 2 of complementary, supplementary, vertical angles. Today we are going to work multi-step problems to write and solve simple equations for an unknown angle in a figure. So let us get started. Okay, let's start with an easy one just to give a reminder of complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90. So, two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Okay, as you see here, they are giving you your corner. I'm all big about that corner, knowing that it's there. So I can simply write this equation. I can say x because I have an x plus 55 equals, and it's a complementary angle, 90 degrees. So here I have my equation. So I'll just have to work my equation. This is x plus 55, so I'm going to do the opposite to move it. I'm going to minus 55 from both sides. Okay, that cancels out. Now I have x equals, and 90 minus 55 is 35. So I know that x equals 35 degrees. Next we have supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180. So two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So here is an example. Now what you see here is you see a straight line. The straight line tells you that it is a supplementary angle. So you're going to make it equal to 180. Then I'm going to take x, because that's there, x plus 120 equals 180. So to be able to find what x is, I'm going to minus 120 from both sides. So x equals 180, so 0 minus 0 is 0, 8 minus 2 is 6, and 1 minus 1 is 0, so x equals 60 degrees. Okay, the last one we're going to go over before we really get into the thick of it is vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are equal to each other. So vertical angles are two angles that are equal to each other. All right, and here's an example of vertical angles. Now this one doesn't have much of an equation, and we will get to some that have an equation where you have to solve for x, but this is basically going to say your equation that you would write here is x equals 119. These are the same because they are vertical angles, so they're equal to each other. So there's not much work to do on this particular one. You just need to know that x is equal to 119. Okay, so here's where we're going to try a few. This is normal, basic, find the missing angle, complementary angles. Now, this is what I want you to do. This is a good way to practice. If you would go ahead and pause the video at this point and work these out, then you are able to check your work. So you can kind of see if you're getting it. I know a lot of people would rather just go watch and let everybody else do it, but this is time for you to see what you know. So this is a good time to pause the video. Okay, so let's look at this. So if you decided not to pause the video, that's fine. If you decided to pause it, let's go over the answers now. Of course, we see that both of these, we're going to observe that they are both right angles. We know this because they have given us the corner on both of these. So both of these equations will equal to 90 degrees. We'll just start with this one. So I know that I have this unknown, and I'm going to, and you can even call it angle F, you can call it X, you can give it any name that you prefer. I'm just going to go and stick with X because it's what we're used to. So we're going to have the unknown angle plus 8 equals 90 degrees. So I know that I have to find out what this X is. This is a regular equation, one step. So I know that if this is plus 8, I'm going to have to take the opposite and move it to the other side. I'm going to minus 8. Okay. That cancels out and gives me X. So 90 minus 8, of course you borrow, make that 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. Since I borrowed from my 9, that's an 8. So I'll just bring it down, and that is 82. So X equals 82 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to do the next one. And we have it equal to 90 degrees because we know it's 90 degrees. We already determined that at the beginning. So I have X plus 56 equals 90 degrees. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite. I'm going to minus 56 from both sides. So X is left because we cancel out 56 on this side equals 90 minus 56. I'm going to borrow from my 9, make that an 8. That's a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. And 8 minus 5 is 3. So the missing angle here is 32 degrees. And that is how you do that. Now let's look at this angle. We do see that it is a straight line. So therefore we know that it is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay. Same as we did with the complementary angles, we're going to do the same thing with the supplementary angles. The only difference is we're going to set it up to 180 degrees. So we have our unknown X plus 15, because them added together will equal 180. We are going to do the opposites. We're going to minus 15 from both sides. Then we have X left because 15 is canceled out. Then we have 180 minus 15. Borrow from your 8 to make the 0 10, and that's 7. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 1 is 6. And then what's left is the 1, and you bring the 1 down. So X equals 165 degrees. This is your missing angle, 165 degrees. Okay, so now that we got the basic on how to do this, we're going to add some extra steps to our equations. This is now going to be the part where it's multi-step. If you observe what we have here, we have 17 plus 2x in this angle. It's not giving us an actual degrees. We're going to have to solve and figure out what it is. So in this multi-step, not only are we going to have to put these angles together, solve for x, we're also going to have to plug in x to figure out exactly what goes there. And I know that some of you want to try this. That's fine. You can go ahead and pause the video and try it. But I'm going to let you know there are others on this video that you can pause and try if you want to watch to see how this is done first. Okay, so let's see. We know the angle is 90 degrees because of the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and write my equation over here, 90 degrees. Okay, and I'm going to put equals. Now I'm going to take these two angles and I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go ahead and put the 23 first, plus 17 plus 2x. Okay. I kind of did that on purpose because you see these two right here, those are like terms, and you can only add and subtract terms that are alike. The 2 is not a like term because it has an x, so it is different. And I know you know this by now because Y'all are smart and you know this. So, but let's go ahead and add this together. 23 plus 17, if you add them together, it will equal 40. Okay, so like I told you earlier, this is a multi-step equation. So we added our like terms. Now our main thing is to isolate x and put x all by itself on one side. So I'm going to start with what is not x. So this 40 does not have an x attached to it. And this is 40 plus 2x. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to minus 40 from both sides. So now I have 2x equals 90 minus 40 is going to equal 50. All right, so now what we have, this is 2x. When you have a variable and its coefficient together, that means multiplication. So like we've been doing on all of our equations, is we have been taking the opposite. So this is 2x, which means 2 times x. I have to take the opposite by dividing by 2. So I have to divide both sides by 2. Put my x. And 50 divided by 2 is 25. So I know that x is 25. So I'm going to put 25 degrees. Now if I wanted to figure out what the angle actually is, and let me clear some of this stuff here. If I want to find out what it actually is, I can actually plug this 25 into the equation. So I can say 17 plus 2 times 25. Right there. So we know that 2 times 25 is 50. And 50 plus 17, 7 plus 0 is 7, and 5 plus 1 is 6. That is 67 degrees. Now I know that seems like a lot, but the more you practice, you will get faster, and it won't be as much as you think it is. But we know that this angle is 67 degrees. We know that x is 25. So that's how you put equations into our angles and you solve for what they are. Okay, now you have a supplementary angle. Now, if you feel that you can do this, it is the same way as we did the last one. If you feel you can do this, pause the video and try on your own. That is not a big deal. You can rewind and look at it again if you like. Okay, so let's try this. I know that this is a straight line. See, here's my straight line. So I know that it will be equal to 180. So I'm going to make it equal 180 degrees. Let's put it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 2x minus 38 plus, because we're adding these two together, 148. Okay. Now, to make it a little bit easier, you can actually take your like terms and put them together. Now, I want you to be careful. Look what they just gave you. They gave you a subtraction. You're minusing here. So you're going to actually have to take 148 and minus it from, or 148 and take away 38. Okay? So I'm going to come over here to the side and work it out because, you know, a little math on the side is good. 8 minus 8 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then I bring down my 1. That's 110. So now I can rewrite my problem. 2x plus, because this is a positive, 110 equals 180. Now I can complete my equation. Minus this from both sides. 110 cancels out. 110. So I have 2x left equals, that's 0. 8 minus 1 is 7. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So that's 70. Now this is 2 times x. So I'm going to divide by 2. And when I divide by 2, x will equal 35. If you want to come over to the side and do the actual division, you can. That goes into 3 times, which is 6. I know with calculators, sometimes we forget how to do all this by hand, so a little review is good. So I actually know that my x is 35. So if I want to see what this angle is right here, I can actually plug it in. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say 2 times 35 minus 38. Okay, so 2 times 35, 2 times 35 is going to be 70. 70 minus 38. All right, so I'm going to put it over each other. This is how I like to do it. Most of you will have a calculator. That's fine. So borrow 6, it's 10. 10 take away 8 is 2. 6 take away 3 is 3. So that leaves me with 32 degrees. And of course you can add those up to make sure they equal 180 to make sure it is correct. But I just wanted to give you this little extra information. If they just want you to solve for x, this is all you have to do. You just solve for x. But if they ask you in the question, what is the angle, then you solve for x and you figure out what the angle is. You have to read the question to know what they're asking. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do vertical angles now. Now, like we said, vertical angles equal each other, and they have given you an equation. So here we go. I'm going to set it up. I know that 6x actually equals 30 because these two are the same. Not only do we know they're the same because of vertical angles, but we know they're the same because they give us the same little dash here. So that tells you they're equal as well. Just another one of those things to be observant about. So 6 times x equals 30. So to do the opposite, we're going to divide. So x equals 5. So right here, x equals 5. It is as simple as that. I want to do one more vertical angle that's a little bit different than the multiplication. So you see these are the same. So they want me to solve for x, find the value of x. I'm going to say x plus 55 equals 100. Okay, so I'm going to do the opposite, minus 55, minus 55. Borrow, makes that 9, that 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 5 is 4, so my x equals 45. So in this equation, x equals 45 degrees. Thank you so much for your participation. I hope you really learned and gained a lot from this video. I look forward to making more. This has been fun. Stay safe.